Alrighty.
Alright. We're live.
Okay.
Now, if you're still here with us after that... Now... Here's the thing about Godzilla. It goes from here to there. Hero, villain, in between, lesser of two evils. But it started off as... It scared people back then. It really did. My grandmother was scared of it when she saw it.
I know plenty of people that were scared when they first saw it, myself included, because when I first saw the films, I was real young, and that was the first one I saw, and it seemed like, you know, here's this monster that didn't feel all that fake. He felt very realistic.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of history behind this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But have you noticed that each generation, every generation isn't as scared as the last generation's movies?
Yeah.
It's really getting hard for us to get scared anymore.
Yeah.
We're so desensitized.
Yep.
Yeah. But, there's stuff all about Godzilla, but let's take a look at how Godzilla, you know, even though he's the character itself, or the monster itself in this case, he's pretty much a badass, and he's pretty much the granddaddy of all monsters themselves.
Yeah.
He's really unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, if you've ever watched any of the Godzilla movies, I mean, I know both you and I have, and pretty much in the original and in at least a couple others, and for the matter of fact, of most of them, the only thing that can really either kill Godzilla or at least disable him are things that do not exist at all.
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked, we aren't working on an oxygen destroyer. Although I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas with...
I mean, you can... They do have something where an air blaster that cuts metal, but...
Yeah, but...
That's really high pressure.
Yeah,
that's not chemical. That's mechanical or something.
I was going to say, that involves, you know, some guy running up and standing on Godzilla for, you know, several hours. Well,
yeah, but let's take a look at, you know, the things that have killed Godzilla. He was killed in the first one by a chemical compound.
Yeah.
And then killed... He himself killed himself because he was over...
Yeah, he essentially had a heart attack.
Essentially, yeah.
And aside from that, nothing's
really worked. And they've tried some pretty abstract ideas.
Yeah.
A mechanical version of Godzilla.
Several times.
Yeah.
Giant moths, giant bats. Or wait, no, that was closer to moth bat thing.
I don't know what Batra really was, but
yeah.
Like in the Millennium series, they tried to kill him with a black hole gun.
Yeah.
And twice it failed.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yep.
And here's the thing about the GMK movie. Like he himself was destroyed, but his heart was still beating. And as we've previously established in Godzilla 2000, he can regenerate.
Yep.
And if one cell is still alive, the entire body will regenerate.
Yeah.
That's the theory why there's another Godzilla and Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
The third movie.
And this is also why we're not really touching that much on the 98 movie, because, well, that was just a big fire-breathing lizard that got taken out by modern tech.
Well, technically, apparently to Toho, that's sort of canon. It's mentioned twice.
And he got pimp smacked by friggin' Godzilla in Final Wars, so...
Which was the best thing about the entire movie.
Boom, one shot, done.
Yeah. And not to mention the CGI was a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. But, I don't know. We're not going to talk about 98.
Yeah.
We'll be here for a long time.
Yeah.
But with the new movie coming out, what do we call this age? I mean, with the original, it was the Showa. In the 90s, it was the Heisei, I don't know how to pronounce it. The 90s era. And there was the Millennium series. What do we call this one? The retro age?
Could be retro. Could be the next generation era.
I don't know. With this one, I think we have pretty high. We've had high expectations for an American Godzilla.
Yeah, and I've actually seen a leaked trailer.
I didn't see it. I've heard about the Comic-Con trailer itself, but I kind of want to see this new trailer too. I have seen footage of Godzilla the model actually.
Yeah.
Like when he's walking across a building, he has the red eyes though.
Yeah.
Which is what the Final Wars one had, or the Millennium series, or the '90s one too. It works though.
It seems closer to the model you have, and
I know. I'm just saying, why would he be fat? Is my question. T-Rexes weren't fat. They really weren't. I don't know. Godzilla was fat.
Atkins diet.
Jared. I don't know. There was a lot of fat Godzillas. Like the first in 1954, the suit was kind of big.
Yeah.
Around the bottom.
Because they know full well that the guy inside the suit's not going to be fat after being in it.
I don't know that the
sweating like crazy.
I can't remember. I can't remember the guy's name, but the suit actor was actually pretty skinny.
Yeah.
He like walked across the room and just collapsed.
Yeah.
Exhaustion. But with Godzilla himself, kind of paved the way for giant monsters.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we know we owe giant monsters and how giant monster films and how they're dedicated and made with care with the King Kong.
Yeah.
I mean, with King Kong, it really paved the way for Godzilla to start.
Yeah.
Because of E.G. Tsuburaya saw that, and he kind of wanted to do stop motion, but he only had like 3 months.
Yeah.
So he made a rubber suit. And the rest is history.
Yep.
But if you look at the movie itself, there is some stop motion with the tail. Actually, one of the buildings Godzilla destroys is actually the theater where this movie was first shown. Imagine how scary that is.
Oh yeah.
You're watching this movie. That's where we are.
Now that would be an awesome thing.
That would be kind of freaky. Like the wall crumbles a little bit.
Or if they went all William Castle with the new Godzilla, and at certain points had some sort of vibrating mechanism where like the chairs shook in the theaters.
Yeah, like that. Like, do you remember that where the movies were kind of interactive with the audience?
Yeah, those were the old William Castle flicks.
Yeah,
like
wasn't he like that slug thing? Unless you screamed, it killed you.
The Tingler.
The Tingler, yeah.
Had the shocks on the seats and scared the hell out of people.
Yeah, that was kind of innovative.
Yeah.
They had one with like it was a 3D like horror show.
Yeah.
I forget. I think it was just called Freak Show.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it's essentially. That I think they actually did do something, like they banged a gong in the theater or something.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm hoping they invent time travel because I kind of want to see this stuff. Just like, what was the reaction back then?
Yeah,
because we can't really know back then. But
let's face it, the stuff from the 50s and the things they did in the theaters, were a heck of a lot more fun and a lot more interactive than how it is now.
Well, 3D's kind of getting there. We just need to. You just need to put some more incentive. I think it actually has to do with like who owns the theater or something.
Yeah.
But with like the recent events of like the Joker, the Colorado thing.
Yeah, all that.
That it's never going to happen now because we don't know we really don't know who. You can't trust anyone anymore. But this is happy times.
Yep.
But what about the fights Godzilla was in? He's had to deal with some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Not as crazy as Gamera's, monsters, but Godzilla did some pretty, he fought a giant moth. He fought gods.
Yeah.
Moth was considered a deity. Like, that's a god. He fought aliens. He's fought in outer space.
He's had wrestling matches with God only knows how many different creatures.
Boxing matches.
Yeah.
It's just... It never got too weird. It never was weird. Sure, it looked weird. Sure, it seemed weird, but it was never, what? It wasn't until Godzilla's Revenge we got that, but we don't talk about that. Let's not talk about Revenge. Or All Monsters on Parade, but let's talk about different things here. But for 60 years, he's an old man now.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have like Ultraman. And that's still, we wouldn't have Super Sentai either.
Right.
Because Super Sentai started getting good when they started bringing in mechs.
Let's face it.
We wouldn't have Gamma either.
Well, let's face it. When it comes to Godzilla, if it wasn't for that, most, if not all, giant monster movies, good or bad, would never have occurred.
I don't even think we had giant robots back then either.
I don't believe so.
I think it was until Ultraman actually started, doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of crappy stuff. If you've ever heard of Johnny Sacco,
I think
the only reason people are going to know who Johnny Sacco is while we're mentioning it is because it was in a Samsung commercial recently.
Oh yeah, I know
the
what
wristwatch, but that thing,
you're talking
technology is great, isn't it? That is kind of cool.
Oh yeah. But heck, I think this all started from
the 30s, actually. People thought wristwatch. We had watches back then in the 30s, but what if it was really cool?
Yeah. But to think the whole Godzilla thing came about from the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah,
actually, worst things to happen in human history, and
actually, it was kind of scary considering the first scene is that ship that gets blown away by Godzilla. That's a reference to the Lucky Dragon number 5, which was too close to the hydrogen testing. People kind of died.
Yeah.
There's even a life raft that says number 5 on it.
Yeah.
But what it started as was they wanted to do a war sort of movie, or what was going on at the time, but they wouldn't let him do it, so he decided to make a representation. So he brought in people with scripts, different stories, science fiction, and it really worked. People were scared. People realized that, well, Godzilla is kind of a two-way a little bit. He represents the atomic bomb's destruction, but he also represents what kind of havoc they can wreak on the environment and stuff like that. If he can be created, but he's not just destruction. He's also a father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though some of his more glamorous moments are,
as much as a father can, as much as a monster can be.
Yeah.
He's also a dinosaur. Which kind of makes sense considering if dinosaurs were to exist today, they would have evolved a little bit further.
Yeah. Although...
Yeah, the Godzillasaurus, whatever. That was kind of a cool scene.
Yeah.
It was a suit, and it was also a animatronic. And it looked really good. It gave Spielberg a run for its money, even though there is a Spielberg moment in that movie.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I think that's what he was trying to reference with the Jurassic Park film.
Yeah.
That was a nice little cameo. There's also another... there's actually a reference to Godzilla in Jurassic Park Lost World. I left Tokyo for this when they're running from the T-Rex. Yeah, and then we got 98, but
yeah, and then he's afterwards he's been referenced in at least one of the Austin Powers flicks.
Even when it's Godzilla, it only looks like Godzilla, but due to copyright laws, it's not. Still, it's run like it is Godzilla, though it's not. I don't know. It's just as time goes on, there's always going to be giant monsters, and there will always be one king of the monsters.
Yeah,
damn sure.